सो हे गाइस, की हाल चाल है? होपफुली सारे वधिया होंगे। शिवाजी महाराज डिवाइन कनैक्शन विद गॉड, ठीक है। रजशी नैंडी ते नाल उन्हां दे बियर बाइसेप्स। लेट्स चेक इट।
I know that Tantra exists in the world of politics also.
Yes.
Now, when people hear that statement, they might have a negative connotation attached with the statement in terms of, oh, so are you saying that politician A does black magic on politician B? Perhaps, but it likely means that politician A, who's gaining success in the material realm, who's growing in terms of power, is probably doing the right kind of upasana for his or her own deity.
That's one way of looking at it, yes. And in fact, not just politicians, let's go back a bit. Kings that India had, the Dharmic kings, all of them more or less had some connection to deity upasana.
Chhatrapati Shivaji
Maharaj is that famous story there where he gets the sword from Ma Durga. So famous.
So he was a Shakt Upasak.
What else?
I would argue, maybe this is my Maratha bias in my heart, because my mom is half Maratha.
Okay.
I feel some humans elevate themselves to reach that level, at least near a deity, if not the deity. I think there was something divine about Chhatrapati Shivaji Maharaj.
100%. Swami Vivekananda, when he was roaming across India, he had come to Maharashtra. I think, if I'm not mistaken, it was Pune, perhaps. And there was a Maharashtrian doctor who was there. And in the course of some conversation, he made some not very respectful remark on Shivaji Maharaj.
Who?
That doctor is there. And Swami Vivekananda was like, immediately his anger shot up. Okay, so he first starts that you are a Maharashtrian and you are saying something like this. Says that this is not an ordinary man. This was as if Shiva was born, because the cries of the ordinary Dharmika people, because of the various kinds of torture or other things that they were facing, so they cried out to the divine. Then Shiva decided to get born. By the blessings of Bhagavati, then he helped establish the empire. Not only established, he stopped the flow of the whatever atrocities were happening, etc., and made sure that even in the south there was some degree of protection, etc.
Okay.
You look at his life, etc., he was terrific. So Swamiji was very clear in his mind, and if Vivekananda is saying it, you can take it for granted that he knows what he is saying.
You know, when you get into the actual history of Shivaji Maharaj, you notice all his ideas and innovations. Now, the one thing I know about ideas and innovations are that they come out of that same pool of creativity which is in a human's mind,
Right.
which is actually fueled by the divine / deities. So all these innovations that he came up with in order to grow the Maratha empire came out of a deity's will
Yes.
at some level,
Absolutely.
right?
Absolutely.
And in the last podcast, I think we spoke about how our goal is to sort of, at least in this phase, to re-establish those Bhairav temples at the borders of India.
Yes.
I would believe that, how there's this whole narrative that South India has a lot of its ancient temples intact still, but North India's temples are
Yes.
kind of
Yes.
So,
ਹਾਂ, ਸਾਊਥ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਆਪਾਂ ਕਹਿ ਸਕਦੇ ਵੀ ਇਹਨਾਂ ਨੇ ਬਹੁਤ ਸਾਂਭ ਕੇ ਦੇ ਆਰ ਐਕਚੁਅਲੀ ਬਹੁਤ ਕਨੈਕਟਡ ਨੇ ਆਪਣੇ ਨਾਲ। ਮੈਂ ਦੇਖਿਆ ਬਈ ਸਾਊਥ ਵਾਲੇ ਬੰਦਿਆਂ ਦਾ ਸਿਸਟਮ ਬਹੁਤ ਅਲੱਗ ਹੈ। ਉਹਨਾਂ ਦੀ ਪੁਰਾਣੀਆਂ ਜਿਹੜੀਆਂ ਆਪਾਂ ਕਹਿ ਸਕਦੇ ਇੱਕ ਤਰੀਕੇ ਨਾਲ ਰੀਤੀ ਰਿਵਾਜ ਜਾਂ ਕੁਛ ਇੱਦਾਂ ਦੇ ਬਹੁਤ।
so medieval history of India, definitely while the North Indian temples were getting destroyed, the deities would have noticed and kind of would have created this divine being that we know as Shivaji Maharaj
Yes.
to protect the realm of the south. Otherwise, that would have also been
Right,
conquered
right,
and destroyed.
Right. Absolutely. There's no doubt about it. I mean, those who are scholars and historians can tell you more details about it. But there is absolutely no doubt about the fact that Shivaji Maharaj was no ordinary man at all. He was born with the specific purpose of protecting Dharma. And there is in fact even an anecdotal story that was told to me. I don't know the historical texts or anything. So, but it is believed that a group of priests or a group of upasakas and brahmins specifically had done lot of japa of certain deities, so that there is at least one individual born, a king born, who has that kind of abilities, or who has the power and the blessings in order to stop the onslaught of the invading armies or the tortures that were happening. And then comes Shivaji Maharaj. Even today, and for centuries to come, he will be revered. That is the effect of Shakti. Shakti is exactly this. It is not what you are during your lifetime. That is wonderful. But the true test of Shakti is time. You are dead, gone, finished. 300, 400 years later, even now people are revering you. People are looking up to you with respect and...
this is actually life ਦਾ ਮਤਲਬ ਇਹੀ ਹੈ, ਠੀਕ ਹੈ, ਕਿ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਜਿਉਂਦੇ ਹੋ, ਠੀਕ ਹੈ, ਉਹ ਤੁਹਾਨੂੰ ਸਭ ਪੁੱਛਦੇ, ਤੁਹਾਡੀ ਇੱਜ਼ਤ ਕਰਦੇ ਨਹੀਂ। ਜਦੋਂ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਮਰ ਵੀ ਜਾਂਦੇ ਹੋ, ਤੁਹਾਡੇ ਮਰਨ ਤੋਂ ਬਾਅਦ ਵੀ ਕਿੰਨੇ ਕਿੰਨੇ ਸਾਲਾਂ ਤੱਕ ਆਪਾਂ ਜਿਨ੍ਹਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਰੱਬ ਮੰਨਦੇ ਹਾਂ, ਜਾਂ ਜਿਵੇਂ ਜੇ ਬਸ ਸਿੱਖ ਧਰਮ ਦੀ ਗੱਲ ਕਰੀਏ, ਆਪਣੇ ਗੁਰੂਆਂ ਦੀ ਹੈ ਨਾ, ਜਾਂ ਸਾਹਿਬਜ਼ਾਦਿਆਂ ਦੀ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਬੱਚੇ ਸੀਗੇ ਹੈ ਨਾ, ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਅੱਜ ਤੱਕ ਅਸੀਂ ਕਿਉਂ ਯਾਦ ਕਰਦੇ ਹਾਂ? ਕਿਉਂਕਿ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੇ ਜੋ ਉਸ ਟਾਈਮ 'ਤੇ ਕਾਰਨਾਮੇ ਕਰਕੇ ਦਿਖਾਏ, ਉਹੀ ਚੀਜ਼ਾਂ ਯਾਦ ਕਰਾਉਂਦੇ ਹਨ। ਉਹਨਾਂ ਦੀ ਇੱਕ ਡਿਵਾਈਨ ਪਾਵਰ, ਉਹਨਾਂ ਦਾ ਇੱਕ ਪੋਜ਼ੀਟਿਵ ਵੱਲ ਧਿਆਨ ਰੱਖਣਾ, ਉਹ ਚੀਜ਼,
adoration and trying to see what you have done. That is Shakti.
Goosebumps all over my neck, legs, arms.
That is Shakti. It is only in the canvas. Mahakal spreads out the canvas, time. And in that you will be tested. What have you done? At the brief moment you can be very good, very bad. We don't have the vision to see for large periods of time. It's only when sufficient time is given, then the truth will come out. If you were dharmic or whatever, what kind of energy you had, you will know at that time.
We've had so many military vets on the show, and this is the joy and blessing of my job, that I get to meet all these different professions. Military vets have often spoken about combat. When they're in the middle of battle, you're trusting your training and your instinct and luck to a very large degree to both save you and conquer the enemy. I would wonder what medieval battle was like when swords and spears and maces were involved. Of course, it must have been slightly slower than modern day combat. But back then, the warriors who actually went into battlefields were definitely drunk on the power of their own form of divinity.
Absolutely. The best of the Kshatriyas are those who have the blessings of the deity. In fact, there was a particular piece of historical text that somebody had sent me. Now, I don't remember the text. There was one of the kings in, I think, present-day Rajasthan or Haryana, that side. So, he had defeated the Mughals in a battle and very fiercely defeated a larger army. And the text describes that before going to battle, he used to do some rituals. And that included, so one of the things is they used to take opium so that, it gives you a kind of a sort of a, reduces the pain. Like,
Okay. Opium यानी कि अफीम.
When you go into a battle, obviously you'll get hurt. Doesn't matter whether you win or lose, you'll get hurt. So he used to do a specific ritual and go into the battle so that during the battle, it's as if he was possessed by Kali. And he would slaughter the enemies.
ਧਿਆਨ ਲੱਗ ਜਾਂਦਾ ਨਾ ਉਹਨੂੰ, ਬਥੇਰੇ ਹੈਗੇ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਲਾਈਕ ਆਲੇ ਦੁਆਲੇ ਜਨਤਾ ਹੈਗੀ ਜਿਹੜੀ ਅੱਜ ਵੀ ਮਾੜਾ ਮੋਟਾ ਕਰਦੀ ਹੈ ਚੀਜ਼ ਨੂੰ, ਉਹ ਦੱਸਦੇ ਨੇ, ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਧਿਆਨ ਲੱਗ ਜਾਂਦਾ ਇਸ ਚੀਜ਼ ਦੇ, ਇੱਕ ਚੀਜ਼ ਵੱਲ ਬੰਦਾ ਜੇ ਗੁੱਸੇ 'ਚ ਉਹ ਚੀਜ਼ ਹੋ ਜਾਂਦਾ ਥੋੜ੍ਹਾ ਜਿਹਾ। ਬਾਕੀ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਦਾ ਇੱਕ ਤਰੀਕਾ ਅਲੱਗ ਹੋਊਗਾ ਇਸ ਚੀਜ਼ ਦੇ ਬਾਰੇ।
So that these things were
ਉਹ ਕੁਛ ਹੋਰ ਤਰੀਕੇ ਨਾਲ ਸੋਚਦੇ ਹੋਣਗੇ obviously.
very common. I mean, anybody, and I'll tell you this, anybody, whether they are conscious of it or not conscious of it, the moment you are in a position where you have power, and power could be fame is a power, money is a power, anything. When you have power, it is always some or the other force that is behind you.
Yes.
Now, whether the force is divine or not is another matter. Some of the best kings and the leaders have always been, consciously or unconsciously, guided by the force of these great gods. And among the gods, it is Devi whose power is most linked to the rejuvenation and rebirth of India, of all forms. It is, look at it, it's Shivaji Maharaj, Devi Upasak. Okay, there are so many other, the whole of the Rajputs. So I'm not going into nitty-gritties of history. Historians can tell you better. But Rajputs, most of them had the Kula Devi as some or the other form of Ma Durga, right? Ramakrishna Paramhamsa gets born just as a mad priest in a temple of Kali. Nobody hardly took care of him. Then comes Swami Vivekananda and his disciples. Vivekananda makes him famous. Years later, all the revolutionaries in India used to revere Vivekananda, like to the extent that there is a particular scene in a Bengali movie where there is a British officer who comes in and he's going to arrest somebody, and the photo of Vivekananda is kept in the room. Vivekananda had expired long back. And he tells the British officer, who is this guy? Wherever I go, I see his photo there. This guy is spoiling their minds. But Vivekananda is not there anymore at that moment. So, Kali inspires Ramakrishna Paramahamsa. Ramakrishna inspires Vivekananda. A chain reaction happens eventually. There are so many great freedom fighters who get inspired. And today here we are. So, who did this? Devi is always the first and the most important deity. No, other deities are also important. But somehow, in the reawakening of India to its full glory, there is a very big role in the Upasana of Devi.
If you enjoyed this clip from
ਓਕੇ ਕਾਫੀ ਚੀਜ਼ਾਂ ਸੀਗੀਆਂ ਜਿਹੜੀਆਂ ਮੇਰੇ ਸਿੱਧੇ ਸੱਚੀ ਗੱਲ ਦੱਸਦਾ ਸਿਰ ਦੇ ਉੱਪਰੋਂ ਚਲੇ ਗਈਆਂ ਬਹੁਤ ਸਾਰੀ ਚੀਜ਼ਾਂ, ਕਿਉਂਕਿ ਬਹੁਤ ਸਾਰੀ ਚੀਜ਼ਾਂ ਬਾਰੇ ਮੈਨੂੰ ਨਹੀਂ ਵੀ ਪਤਾ। ਕੁਛ ਇੱਦਾਂ ਦੀ ਚੀਜ਼ਾਂ ਸੀ ਜਿਹੜੀ ਸਮਝ ਆਈਆਂ, ਓਕੇ ਠੀਕ ਹੈ। ਕੁਛ ਇੱਦਾਂ ਚੀਜ਼ਾਂ ਸੀ ਜਿਨ੍ਹਾਂ ਬਾਰੇ ਮੈਂ ਗੱਲ ਕਰਨਾ, ਮਤਲਬ ਖੁਦ ਕੁਛ ਕੁਐਸਚਨਸ ਆਉਂਦੇ ਨੇ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਕਿ ਆਪਾਂ ਸਰਚ ਕਰਾਂਗੇ। ਤੁਹਾਡੇ ਦਿਮਾਗ 'ਚ ਵੀ ਆਏ ਹੋਣੇ ਕੁਐਸਚਨ, ਤੁਸੀਂ ਵੀ ਸਰਚ ਕਰੋ। ਤੁਹਾਡੇ ਕੋਈ ਕੁਐਸਚਨਸ ਨੇ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਮੇਰੇ ਤੋਂ ਪੁੱਛਣਾ ਚਾਹੁੰਦੇ ਹੋ, ਤੁਸੀਂ ਕਮੈਂਟਸ ਵਿੱਚ ਪੁੱਛ ਸਕਦੇ ਹੋ, ਠੀਕ ਹੈ। ਬਾਕੀ ਚੰਗੀ ਗੱਲਬਾਤ ਹੈ, ਸਹੀ ਗੱਲਬਾਤ ਹੈ, ਠੀਕ ਹੈ। ਦੇਖੋ ਦੁਨੀਆ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਮੇਰੇ ਹਿਸਾਬ ਨਾਲ ਖਾਸ ਕਰਕੇ ਇੰਡੀਆ ਦਾ ਜਿਹੜਾ ਸਰਕਲ ਜੇ ਆਪਾਂ ਦੇਖੀਏ ਤਾਂ ਲਾਈਕ ਯੂਨਾਈਟਿਡ ਇੰਡੀਆ, ਜੇ ਆਪਾਂ ਪਹਿਲਾਂ ਜੇ ਪੁਰਾਣਾ ਜਿੱਦਾਂ ਬੰਗਲਾਦੇਸ਼ ਪਾਕਿਸਤਾਨ ਆਪਣੇ ਨਾਲ ਸੀਗੇ ਇਕੱਠੇ, ਤਾਂ ਉਸ ਟਾਈਮ ਦਾ ਵੀ ਆਪਾਂ ਜੇ ਇਕੱਠਾ ਕਰ ਲਈਏ ਪੂਰਾ ਸਿਸਟਮ, ਤਾਂ ਰੱਬ ਗੋਡ ਦਾ ਹੱਥ ਬਹੁਤ ਜ਼ਿਆਦਾ ਹੈ, ਠੀਕ ਹੈ। ਹੋ ਸਕਦਾ ਹੈ ਲਾਈਕ ਜਿਵੇਂ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੇ ਕਿਹਾ ਦੇਵੀ ਦਾ ਹੱਥ ਬਹੁਤ ਹੈ, ਠੀਕ ਹੈ, ਹੋ ਸਕਦਾ ਬਿਲਕੁਲ ਪੋਸੀਬਲ ਹੈ, ਠੀਕ ਹੈ। ਸੋ ਪਾਵਰਸ ਤਾਂ ਹੈ ਸੀ, ਲੜਨ ਵਾਲੇ 'ਚ ਐਵੇਂ ਨਹੀਂ ਸੀ, ਉਹ ਕੋਈ ਨਾ ਕੋਈ ਪਾਵਰ ਕੰਮ ਕਰਦੇ ਸੀ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਪਿੱਛੇ।